Happy Sunday morning, everybody, from a beautiful downtown Concord, New Hampshire. Oh no, hold on. We got to fix this up right away. Let's get this fixed up. Here we go. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Same decal I used yesterday at the airport. Let's take a look at the downtown Concord, New Hampshire. Beautiful town, Concord, New Hampshire. I really like this very contemporary building over there. It says the Friendly Toast. Look here, they have a chrome trailer up top there. Must be a strong building. They were partying down there last night, just a singing. But it's a really nice little town. They've really fixed Concord up. It's about, it is about 6:40 in the morning. I don't know why I'm up so early. Little comedy this morning. I've been using that word lately, a lot lately. Well, that was a tongue twister. I've been using that word a lot lately. A little bit of comedy. So I get up on this Sunday morning and I start scrolling social media. And there's this one guy just out of nowhere. By the way, I didn't have anything to say until I saw this. I thought, well, this is good. This guy on X, it seemed to maybe a West Coast guy because it said 3 hours ago. So that would have been like 3:30 in the morning. He said, I used to like you, Wallace, until you started bragging about how wealthy you were. I thought, wow, that came out of nowhere. But he felt the need to say it. It really bothered him. So I'm assuming he listened to one of my stories a couple years ago about how I made it. I said, okay, so you didn't like the story about how I made it. So I'll tell you a story about how I was poor. Comedy. Now it's sad that we have to tell people, hey, this is comedy. Instead of just saying it, we'd think it'd be, now it's bothering me. Hold on. Changing stories. Now it's bothering me that the Sunoco, now I got to hold the cup crooked. If I hold it level, then the Sunoco logo is crooked. Well, we're just going to leave it like that. True stories. Here we go. I'm going to say to you, I'm so poor. And then all of you go, how poor were you? Okay, you ready? I was so poor. How poor were you? I was so poor that I was afraid to ask my dad for $1. My dad, Russ, he'd say, what the hell you need $1 for? And I'm like, I'm never asking him again for money. So I used to, Mom would buy sodas, years ago in the late 60s, early 70s. I was born in 63. So we're in Arnold, Missouri. And I would take my soda bottles, the glass ones. Years ago, remember, you could turn soda bottles in and get 5 cents a piece. Well, when we ran out of soda bottles at the house, now I'm not proud of this, but I had to get money because I was not going to ask my dad for money. So I would go down to the subdivision and I would find soda bottles that were accidentally left on people's porches. Now, I took my little bicycle and I would carry a 6-pack. Look here, I'd be on the bicycle like this. I'd take a 6-pack and put right on. I had one of those huffy seats, a long seat, because I pull wheelies. And those are the seats that you pull wheelies with, the long ones, so you could sit at the back. And so anyway, I'd take that 6-pack like this, and I'd put the 6-pack between my legs. Then I'd go inside the little race shop we had, and I'd find some tape, and I would tape soda bottles all over my bicycle. True story. It's Sunday. It's the day of the Lord, okay? And I'd ride that baby about 3 miles at least to the 7-Eleven up there by Church Street. Used to be a 7-Eleven. Everybody knows where it was in Arnold. You all know where Church Street is. That was behind where Lowe's is right now. And there used to be a 7-Eleven right there. And I'd take all my bottles in there and I'd untape them. And I'd get 5 cents a piece. I'd get my $1.50, whatever it was. And then I'd go to A&W. Me and my buddy Monty Kincaid, we'd go to A&W. And we'd get us a hamburger, French fries, and a Coke. Of course, normal hamburger, small French fries, small Coke. I was in tall cotton. Had myself $1.50, whatever it was. I was so poor. How poor were you, Herman? I was so poor that my dad said to me, Herman, you can't race. You don't have any money. Well, remember, that don't stop me. I'm going to make happen. I knew I didn't have any money, but when I traveled with Rusty, I met a lot of people. I met Phil Homer, who was in charge of Goodyear. I met George Gillespie, who ran Pro Racing Shocks. I met somebody at MSD Ignition Boxes. And I would get all their phone numbers when I was about 12, 14 years old. You got to remember, I was a crew member in ASA. They let me in the pits because Rusty'd tell Becky and Rex Robbins, Herman changes my tires. I don't care what we got to do if I got to sign a release, but Herman's changing my tires. Me and Paul Andrews. So here I am, Rusty leading Milwaukee in a USAC race. Had to sign a release. Remember old Billy Saxon? He ran USAC. Here I am coming around the car like maybe 14 years old, changing damn tires. So I'd meet all these people. And when it came time for me to race, I was so poor. How poor were you, Herman? That I'd call these people up. I'd say, hey, Phil Homer, could I get some tires? Oh, Herman, you're a good kid. Thank you, Phil. George Gillespie, he'd give me shocks. MSD, give me ignition boxes. Thank God for John Child's Tower. If it weren't for John bought my frame and cage from Dillon. Thank God for my dad. He put up a $5,000 or $10,000 CD as collateral. And I went to the bank and I borrowed money. And I bought an old newspaper delivery truck, the Globe Democrat. And I bought that truck. And then I pimped that thing out on the inside. John put tires on it because he owned a tire store. There's way more stories. My friend who said, I don't like it because you brag about how wealthy you are. You're most likely talking about when I told you stories about how poor I was. I wished I was shot in the ass with diamonds like some of my friends were. But I grew up very middle class. Very middle class. Shame on you. Shame on you for saying, I used to listen to you, Herman, but I don't like it when you brag on you. There's a difference telling you when I didn't have anything and what I did to make it. All right, everybody. I'll see you at Trackside Live at 11 o'clock right next to the tunnel. And I want you to yell out, Herman, how poor were you? May the Lord be with you all. Happy Sunday, everybody.